your cousin's wedding, you have a half a glass of champagne.
Hello, we're talking about casual drinking. We're all excited to share with everyone the latest research. I'm Carol Lourie. I'm here with my dear friend, Dr. Ritamarie Loscalzo, who is a chiropractor, a functional medicine doctor, and we're so excited. That's why we're prematurely talking about what we're going to share with you today. And Dr. Ritamarie is a dear friend and colleague of mine through Mindshare, and we've known each other for many years, and we believe 100% we're on the same path about what you need to do to stay healthy after breast cancer and after any chronic disease, and even outside of the chronic disease for longevity and a healthy, happy life. So, which is what I'm determined to have. My daughter said to me, Mom, you don't want to be in a wheelchair like Granny. And now I'm like, absolutely not. I'm power walking and I'm doing my juicing and my vegetables and everything. So welcome, Ritamarie.
Thank you. And I'm as passionate, so passionate. And my latest kick for myself is heavy weight training. And I've been away for a while and I'm doing it remotely by using bands. And my husband
I love bands.
Wonderful. So he looked at me, said, let me see your arm again. What did you just do? And I'm holding it. He goes, oh my God, look at your shoulders, look at your definition. And I'm 67, almost 67 years old. And I'm running 5 miles and I'm lifting heavy. That's what everybody should be doing.
But let's start out about food, not lifting so heavy, because I have this approach when you start, and most women in their 50s, if they haven't started, they're very deconditioned.
Oh, so, yeah. You don't want to you don't want to overdo. No, not at all.
So start out by finding a system, a person on Instagram or on YouTube that you like to follow, and just start out doing the exercising without weights, and do that for a month, and then start with 1 pound because you're very deconditioned. Are you lifting 30 pounds at this point, Ritamarie?
I can. It depends on what the exercise is. I can lift 30 pounds.
Yeah, I lift 8 to 10 at the most. I'm not at 30.
Well, I go by my body though, right? Yeah. So the way that the trainer taught me was that if you can get to 13, more than 13 on this weight, it's too light, then you up it a little. If you can't get to 10, then it's too heavy, you put it down. So I start light and then I go, well, that's nothing. Let me add it on. So you go to your own body. There is an amazing book for anybody who, especially women in the ages where we're most subject to osteoporosis.
Yeah, that's
Strong women stay young. Strong women stay young. And she has a set of exercises you can do in 20 minutes a day. You start light, you build up, and she has phenomenal research on the statistics with reversing leukemia.
Okay, I just put it in the chat, everyone. Strong women stay young. Ritamarie's having some connection difficulties. But there we go. Now she's unfrozen. So let's talk about your wheelhouse, which is, it happens, it's an imperfect world. Let's talk about your wheelhouse, which is nutrition and food. And I just want to start out, which I said to Ritamarie when we were beginning. My phrase is you need to divorce yourself from 99.9% of the standard American diet. I don't say that lightly. And then what do? Right? So take it away, because this is her wheelhouse.
You eat real food. You eat food that doesn't come in packages. It's real. It comes from the ground. It comes from nature. That's what you eat, right? And so when the standard American diet is 85 to 95% processed food, packaged food, foods that have added oils and sugars and starches and all that. And, my biggest thing, you eat to maintain a healthy blood sugar for you, right? And everybody's different. So I'm a big fan of blood glucose meters and the latest craze, which I've been doing for 6 years, CGMs, continuous glucose meters. So that you might be able to eat a half a cup of blueberries, but if you eat a whole cup of blueberries, it puts your sugars into those high ranges. And we know that high levels of sugar in the blood is an increased risk of cancer. We know that cancer cells have 9 to 10 times more insulin receptors than regular cells. And we know that majority of people get to be insulin resistant by the time they're 60. And the latest study shows that 92% of the population is metabolically unwell. So we want to avoid those foods that raise our blood sugar.
Let's talk about for a second, what is insulin resistance? Because I don't think women understand what that is. So when you eat food, that food is converted to sugar or glucose in your bloodstream, and that sends a message to the pancreas to release insulin. So the insulin needs to be taken up by the cells. But if you're insulin resistant, what happens? The insulin is there, it's knocking on the cell door, and the cell isn't opening the door. So the pancreas then thinks it needs to put in more insulin, and then you have all this overpowering insulin hanging out in your bloodstream. That is very unhealthy for all of us, and it creates inflammation. And the cancer cells, meanwhile, are going, oh, great, I'm going to gobble all this up. We want to make the cancer cells gas tank on as empty as possible for as long as possible. That's the goal of how we eat and how we live every day.
Right. Exactly. Perfect. But great explanation. And so some foods will cause your body to need more insulin. And some foods the body just handles without much insulin. So if you eat a salad of an avocado and greens, you don't need much insulin to handle that. Mm-hmm. But if you eat a meal that contains bread and pasta and wine and other things like that, we get a skyrocketing of that insulin, which is increasing cancer risk dramatically.
Right. So, what we were talking about, we were so excited when we first came on, is the latest research in alcohol. Yeah. And I know that when I teach my healthy lifestyle and my nutrition weeks for my live group coaching, I have a whole section on this big study, and there's been additional studies now. And Ritamarie was saying, talk about the most recent study that you were referencing.
Well, the one, I don't know how recent it is, but I was recently reading it. So it was recent to me, that what's considered casual drinking, 3 drinks or less a week, which I don't think is casual.
No, that's not casual for me either.
But a lot of people think that one glass of wine a day is casual drinking. Dangerous, right? But these were done on women who were drinking 3 glasses of wine, not even hard alcohol, 3 glasses of wine a week. And they had a 14% increased risk of breast cancer.
Yeah, that's the study that I referenced. Now, right. So here's the deal, ladies. A glass of wine 3 times a week, and we both said this, is not what we consider casual drinking. Casual drinking, in my opinion, it's a holiday, you're at your anniversary, you're at your friends, and you have 1 glass, and ideally it's an eco organic wine because there is less sulfites and less sugar uptake in those wines. Right. That's casual drinking. Casual drinking is
3 times a week.
Right. No. That's a problem. That's what I would call you have a problem. So I think that alcohol, and also that study was done on American women who are, most of them, overweight. They haven't changed from their standard American diet. They're not exercising. They're not doing anything that I talk about and Dr. Ritamarie talks about of how to live a longevity, healthy life. They're not doing any of that. They're just eating processed food and sitting and not exercising. And the more we move, the healthier we are.
Absolutely. The more we move and the better we eat, and the more we sleep, and the more meditation and things we do to calm our nervous systems down, the healthier we're going to be, whether it's cancer, autoimmune, diabetes, heart disease, whatever it is that you want to either reverse or prevent. This is the lifestyle that you need to adopt. And I hear that, but it's hard. Yeah, but it's hard to undergo chemo, radiation.
Yeah.
Right? Hard to get your chest cracked open and have your heart taken out and your circuit and, valves. That's what's hard. To me, changing the diet is easy compared to what you have to go through.
If you don't.
Exactly.
Right. So I want to address this because attitude, as far as I'm concerned, is everything. And you've had breast cancer. My wheelhouse is women with breast cancer, and either you're in the middle of treatment or you're still getting treatment or you're done treatment. It doesn't really matter. It's a continuum. And breast cancer is a metabolic disease. It means that when you're finished with active treatment, you're not done. You're just beginning another chapter. And now I think is when you really need to, I don't want to use the word work because women have, an aversion to that phrase, but I think you need to decide how you're going to live having had breast cancer. It's about that. It's a commitment to your ongoing healthy, joyful life. And what's the why that you're doing this? And how much are you gradually going to be able to shift the old habits to create new habits?
Exactly. Yeah, that's well said, because the why is really important. And when women undergo conventional breast cancer or any kind of cancer treatment, they kind of get the false sense of, oh, you've removed the tumor, you've irradiated me, it's gone. Then I just go back to business as usual because medicine isn't recognizing this. But this was really encouraging. I was doing some research for a presentation I did a few weeks ago, and it was on the metabolic health and its impact on.
I was on
cancer.
that presentation. You did a great job.
On that. Thank you.
Job.
Thank you. And the research I found was from, of all places, MD Anderson, saying that your best prevention and or what you do after to prevent the recurrence is actually to adopt a mostly plant-based diet or 100% plant-based diet and get rid of all the processed foods and exercise. Like MD Anderson is now saying this, like they are the way up there in the allopathic approaches generally. So we've got to listen. We've got to wake up and listen.
And the research, if you go into PubMed and you look for the research is actually not confusing. It's very linear and it's very clear. And this is your glucose monitor you have on your
I keep it. Yeah, it matches my clothing. Yeah.
I have nice. And where do women get that?
Well, this one in particular, I got from a company called Signos, and they do Dexcoms. So this is a Dexcom. Dexcom this is a G6, and now they have a G7, which is much smaller. But it's basically a 2-piece, and you put this bandage over it because I'm active and I swim and I lift weights and I do things and I don't want to knock it off. But it's about this big, and it's a sensor that you put in your arm, and it's constantly reading your blood sugar. And then there's a little transmitter that you stick inside the sensor, and it transmits it to an app on your phone.
Okay.
And
I'm going to get connected to this company, ladies, and I'm going to send out an email for this.
Yeah. And then the other way you can get it is another company that I'm gonna switch back to the Freestyle Libre and check out their new one, which is the Libre 3, which is an itty bitty thing like that, like a dime sized thing that just sticks on the back of your arm, and you don't need all the fancy bandages and everything to hold it in place. So the other company is Theos, and I'll give you both of those links that you can get it directly.
I'll get that from Dr. Ritamarie, ladies, and I'll post that in my Facebook community. And I'm going to send out an email to my list about all of you on my list about this, because this is really feedback. Because women think they're changing how they're eating and they're not monitoring their glucose, and you don't know if you don't know. So knowledge, like she said, you may be able to eat a half a cup of blueberries, which are really helpful for you. But if you eat a cup, it's too much. So let's find out what your body can handle. And the more you individualize your treatment, the healthier you're going to be.
Absolutely.
It's
so important. There's no one size fits all.
Right.
And I have a lot of genetic markers. I've studied this over the years, and I have a lot of genetic markers for insulin resistance and diabetes. And so I've found over the years that I can't eat super sweet fruit. I can't eat pineapple and papaya and mango unless I eat them in teeny tiny amounts, and I eat it with greens, and I eat it with, I eat a little bit, I have a little bit on my salad, whatever. And I got into my own trouble. I'm going to write a blog post about this recently because I'm in Costa Rica, where there's this fresh papaya, pineapple, etc. And so I slipped on my own guidelines for myself, which were have a big salad, have a few pieces of the papaya or the mango or pineapple. And I just started I just finished my dinner. Oh, I can have just a bowl of pineapple for dessert.
A bowl. Wow.
Yeah. And my sugars are through the roof. And I am now struggling to get them back down.
That's
And
the other thing.
Yeah, it's hard to get it back up, down once you've got it up, but you just have to go back. I have to go back to being strict and going back to my own guidelines that I found, small amount of fruit with a large amount of green, and it works.
And strict can be a charged word.
I know.
Because, it has a lot of negative connotations, but I think that we need to replace the energy of strict with, this is what I'm choosing to do.
Yeah.
You're not a victim of your blood sugar giving you information that you can't eat a bowl of pineapple. I mean, I couldn't eat a bowl of pineapple either. I don't know anybody who could actually and not have their blood sugar go up. It's delicious. It's super sweet though, filled with too much natural sugars. So fruit has natural sugars, and that they contribute to high blood sugar also, right?
Right. That's right.
So let's talk about the attitude a little bit more of this, creating this so it's a doable lifetime approach towards how women eat. And it is a very big deal to divorce. I don't use that word lightly. I mean, you're turning your back on and you're not going to see again when you get divorced all this money and all these boxes and all this processed food and the way you're eating. And I had a woman tell me that she went out to an Italian restaurant and she ordered lasagna, and she said, I only had a few pieces of the bread. And she felt like, she said, well, I did better than I would have. And I don't want to diminish that, but I also said to her, so here's what I would have done. I would have ordered a piece of fish with tomato sauce. And I would have had a big salad, and I would have asked for real olive oil and some lemon. And I would have been very, very happy. And I would have lasagna is a thing of the past.
If you want to be healthy, it really is. Except I know how to make it, and I teach people how to make it in a very good way.
Yeah,
right?
with greens and with zucchini and fresh organic tomatoes. Yeah. Oh, delicious. And Parmesan Reggiano, which is a PD-L1 inhibitor. So absolutely. Now, Jeannie wants to know if she can have a small glass of fresh squeezed orange juice in the morning. So I know what I would say. What would you say?
I would say absolutely not. Because it's pure sugar. When you take the fiber, eat the orange. But, in a glass of orange juice is way more oranges than you as a normal person would sit down and eat in one sitting.
Right.
So it's concentrated sugar, but there's no fiber to slow it down. So
right.
I would say no.
I agree 100%. The other thing is when you eat that orange, you're eating a little bit of the white pith, which has modified citrus pectin in it.
Yes.
Which is excellent which I have all my women on because it keeps the cells from being sticky. And you don't want sticky cells because sticky cells can think that they can then gather together and they can make another tumor. And we are not letting them do that. So I would say just take an organic orange and
eat it with greens.
Jeannie, I want to make sure that you're going to be attending my next live free class, which is happening next Tuesday or Wednesday. And if you haven't already registered for that, you need to register for that. That's why I'm doing this. So my direct email I'm going to put in here. And if you haven't seen or registered for that, Jeannie, you need to email me and I'll make sure you get to register. Sorry, everybody, I got sidetracked. Eat it with greens. So what do you eat for breakfast, Dr. Ritamarie?
I don't eat until noon. My first meal of the day. Okay. So that's my breakfast is, my break your fast meal is a green smoothie made with avocado, a lot of greens, some ginger, some turmeric, lemon juice or lime juice. And, that's basically spices, herbs and spices.
You put a protein powder in there?
Not usually. No, usually I don't. I get plenty of protein in those greens. And then it depends. Like when I'm traveling, I don't get as many greens as I would like, as much of a variety. So it depends on how I feel. But that's how I start my day. And I also have some sort of probiotic food. And I usually do when I'm at home, I'll have some coconut yogurt or some cashew yogurt or something like that. Sometimes I might have some sauerkraut, which seems like a weird breakfast food.
No, I think so. I was just thinking sauerkraut in the morning is actually quite delicious.
Quite good. And when you mix it with avocado, oh,
Yeah.
it's a yummy meal.
Yeah. Dr. Ritamarie always posts photos of her delicious salads and her salad dressing. And, you know, people say to me, oh, it takes a lot of time to cook like this. Oh, it's too expensive. These are all the objections. Oh, I don't know how to do it. My family isn't going to like it. So let's talk about the objections people have towards.
Yeah. So the time, I don't have a lot of time. I'm busier than anybody I know. I'm constantly busy. It takes no time at all to take a bunch of food and dump it in the blender and turn it on and then drink it. And the reason I like to do that is because the preparation doesn't take so much time, but eating a big salad does take time because you do need to chew it. So I let the blender chew it for me. So the time, I mean, I have really quick and easy recipes, easy, and I'm sure you have tons of them that you give people. The money, it costs a little bit more to buy organic food than non-organic food. It costs a little bit more to buy fresh food versus like frozen vegetables or whatever. But what you're saving is restaurants. I don't eat in restaurants very often.
Very rare.
Very rare because you want to have good quality. And then you're saving the, you know, that packaged stuff.
Costs money.
It costs money. And you're saving the time it takes you to tend to your health when it falls apart and you go with the cheaper alternative,
right?
What you think is the cheaper alternative. So that's time and money are not reasonable objections for not eating well.
I agree. And when you think about how much a package of soda cost or a box of crackers or Triscuits or cold cereal, I mean, that is expensive. You're paying for the boxing and the advertising, and you're getting not only zero nutrition, but you're getting negative influence on your cells. So the attitude of it's too expensive doesn't really cut it. Everybody needs to adjust their approach to this. What's expensive is, as Ritamarie said, having to have open heart surgery, God forbid, or going into the hospital. And not only is that a traumatic experience, but it takes an enormous amount of time and energy to recover your health once that has happened. It's a hard road back.
You want to avoid an open heart, but any kind of surgery, right? Whether it's lumpectomy, getting a tumor removed, if it's a mastectomy, a full, those are all very, very invasive, and they're very time consuming to come back from. And if you happen to be self-employed, like I am, there's no income coming in when you're out in hospital.
Right. It's true. So, what do you do when you're with friends and you're invited over to somebody's house? Because I hear this a lot. I have what I do, but let's hear what you do. Let's say somebody invites you to their house. How do you handle it?
Well, if it's somebody that knows me well, they know that I'm a picky eater, and they ask me, what can I make you? If it's not, then I say, hey, I have a very restrictive diet. I have some food sensitivities and things I need to avoid. I would love to make a dish to contribute to the meal. What's kind of the theme of the meal? Like, I don't want to bring sushi if they're making Italian food. You know what I mean? Right. So I want to bring something that's going to be complimentary. And then I bring enough that if that's the only thing there that I can eat, I make sure that people know, and I don't really make a big deal of that anymore. No. I used to, but I don't and if they say, oh, I know you eat picky, as long as you have a salad without a dressing on it, I'm fine. I'm not picky, right? A plate of steamed broccoli would make a meal for me. I'm happy with it.
I agree.
So I let people know, and I am unwilling to compromise my health for somebody else's feelings of, oh, she's so picky, and
I don't even like that phrase, picky. I think that's a negative phrase. I think it's smart. Phrase.
Yeah, but that's what people say.
That's their problem. That's not our attitude.
Exactly. That's their problem.
If you think I'm picky, it's not. I don't think I'm picky. I think I'm smart. I'm taking my longevity and my health super seriously. I agree with you 100%. What I'll do is I'll call over to the person and I'll say, tell me what you're serving. And I will either, as you do, sometimes I'll bring something, or I'll just bring my own food on a plate and I'll just, put it down and eat my food when everybody else is eating her food, or their food. I don't want to eat lasagna unless I've made it. I mean, you can eat lasagna, but I'm not eating this cheese and this regular gluten lasagna. It's not attractive to me.
Not attractive to me either. The other thing is, eating before you go is always an option.
Don't be hungry. Never go out to eat or never go to somebody's house. I have a smoothie or half a smoothie before I'll go, or eat a salad before I go. Because if you're hungry, you're going to have a difficult time resisting the crackers and the cheese, which it's not great for you. So I don't have any problem bringing like a hummus and some vegetables for a dip and another dish. I'm all for that. And I'll also always bring a couple bottles of Pellegrino. So when everybody else is drinking a whole bunch of wine, I have something a little, I always show up with stuff. So that's about, I like this phrase, be unwilling to compromise your health. I think, and don't worry if other people think you're picky. It's their problem. It's not ours.
Exactly. I agree.
100%. Ritamarie, it's so wonderful to hang out with you. We're just two peas in a pod about eating this way and working out and really you can see the energy between us ladies about how we're just very simpatico with what we both do. And it's wonderful to share your message with my community. And thank you so much for being here. And if women want to reach out to you, how can they find you?
I'm all over the place at Dr. Ritamarie, Dr. Ritamarie, and it's Facebook, Instagram, drritamarie.com, all of those places. Where else am I?
That's it.
YouTube.
Yeah.
I have a YouTube channel, hundreds of YouTube videos.
Great.
And I do live YouTube, Facebook / usually every Monday around 6 p.m. So that's where I'm at.
Great. Thank you so much. And it was really great to see you. Ladies, it's Carol Lourie signing off for now, and there'll be more later. Have a lovely day, everyone. Be unwilling to compromise your health. That's my new phrase.
Good. Thank you.